Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here for checking out the series. You know what to do if you like what you see, what you hear, hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. You can subscribe anywhere you get your podcast from. That's Spotify, Apple Podcast, NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And today I am very excited to say that we are talking with Julia Stiles about the new movie called Chosen Family. Who we also just recently talked to Thomas Lennon about. Chosen Family, written, directed, and starring Heather Graham. It's about a yoga teacher, Anne, played by Heather Graham, who can't escape her manic family, miserable dating life, and inability to say no, leaving her constantly trying to fix everyone else's problems. But can she finally put herself first when a new love walks into her life? So, going to be talking with Julia all about hooking up with Heather Graham and being a part of this. Julia plays Heather's sister in the movie, and she's someone who's dealing with being an addict and has a past, and she's just a ball of anger through most of it. So we're going to talk about the character. We're also going to be talking about Heather, working with Heather, who wrote and directed it, especially coming at a time where Julia is doing that herself. She's just directed her first film that's going to be out next year. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what that means for her career, what kind of director she wants to be, and we're also going to talk about music. In fact, not only is she like directing movies, but she says one of her dreams is to direct music videos, and she's been in some in the past as well. So we'll get all of that and more as we discuss Chosen Family. It's Kyle Meredith with Julia Stiles.
Love your amazing wall background of music back there. That's so cool. I love it. I
Thank you.
love Prince and REM, and you got lots of good stuff there.
Little Bowie. It was funny when Thomas Lennon was here yesterday. The first thing we did, I made him do the lightning round, and he to tell me his favorite Prince, Bowie, and REM song. So you've fallen into the trap, and you have to do the same thing now.
Okay, I'm gonna go on my version of clockwise.
Sure.
Okay, REM is uh, it's the end of the world as we know it.
Great choice.
Bowie, that's a tough one. I would say um, I could sing it. Oh my God, wait, what is it called? Because it's not. Is it not Ziggy Stardust? It's the Starman. Starman?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Starman's a good one. Yeah,
yeah,
Starman waiting in. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But even the stuff he did later in life was great. And then Prince. Oh man, I have to pick one. Um, I'm gonna pick an obscure one just
Okay,
to show off. No, I'm not. Starfish and Coffee is a really
that's a
easy,
fantastic one.
that's a really fun one to sing, especially if you have little kids. Yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously 1999, obviously Purple Rain. Yeah,
these are good
too many good
choices.
ones.
These are very good
Thanks.
choices. You passed the test as well. Well done. And it's ridiculous to me that I start with the lightning round. So that's it's usually
That's
the
okay.
ending.
We
It's
always love changing the subject after talking about like a movie. Oh, and Maya Hawke too. Interesting.
mm,
It's always nice to change the subject a little bit.
yeah, that's good. In Maya, I mean, what a great, dual career that she's having right now. Her album, she's one of my favorite lyricists at the moment. It's just incredible in that stuff. But I do want to say, to do the thing that you said you're trying to get away from, I do want to congratulate you on this movie and seeing you back on the screen again. It shows the family, and it's a fun story. It's got you working with Heather, and the crossovers of both of your careers that seem to be happening at the moment with her, the writing and directing, and you doing as well. How did you get roped into this little adventure?
It wasn't that hard to rope me in. I it was probably like a little piece of dental floss. No, I was really excited about Heather writing and directing, and she wrote a really great script. It made me laugh out loud as I was reading it, and it was a super fun character who's just like completely irreverent and bratty and acts a grown up who acts like a toddler, which is always fun to do.
What is it? The is it Punch Pilates? Is that what
Punch,
the
punchalates.
Punch
So
Pilates?
it's basically her just punching the air and kicking.
Yeah.
It's getting out all of your rage because my character definitely has rage issues.
Mhm.
And Yeah, I mean, the joke with that is that Heather's character has a career as a yoga teacher, and her family won't pay attention to it. All they do is pay attention to the younger daughter who acts out and demands a lot of attention and is bragging about. The parents are trying to be supportive of the sober sister at the expense of our main character Heather, who gets overlooked all the time.
Yeah, that's got to be a little fun moment. Like, what's the direction that comes along with coming up with a concept like that?
Punch Pilates. Oh,
Yeah,
well, when we had to actually film the scene where I'm in my Punch Pilates class, she was like, "Do whatever you want." So I did.
it's fun
It
because
was a lot of yelling. It was a lot of
yeah,
yelling.
but and that's it. You like so much of your character in this does have this just like I mean, she's a balled up fist most of the time. Like I don't know. Like to carry that through an entire character, I don't know. Does it get because it seems like a very fun environment that you guys to be around. So I don't imagine this is too serious. You know, there is a comedic element to it, and it's very serious as well. But like, is it enough to like carry that kind of emotion around for however long the shoot was?
I think it's really cathartic. I mean, I'm not an angry person, but I think as an actress, you sometimes gravitate towards characters and situations and storylines that let you act out the things that you're not really allowed to in real life. So, any bottled up frustration and I could let loose on this, in this character. But she's also, she's not totally irredeemable. I mean, she is very self-centered and very tantrumy and demanding a lot of attention. But she's struggling with sobriety. She's living in her parents' garage. We learn towards the end of the movie that like messed up things happened to her in life, and not to make excuses. Like I think I think in Heather's writing too, she wrote characters like her parents and the sister in a kind of exaggerating their faults almost because they're supposed to be such a dysfunctional family that Heather's character is learning that her chosen family are her friends that are the ones that actually see her and love her and support her no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's again, it's just fun seeing you in this kind of thing. And of course, when we look back over your career and all the many types of characters that you played, but especially, I know that things get brought up about 10 things and I was thinking even Wicked and things like that. And for that to, even those characters to have their own, like, did you ever get to a point where you would have avoided someone like this? Like that's what I think I'm trying to get to. Like so much was put
Oh.
on you about that type of character. Like, would you have played this character 20 years ago?
Would I have played that character 20 years ago? I don't think I would have really understood it or been like comfortable enough to really let it out. I think I would have been more inhibited playing a character like this, or I would have been looking for like her good qualities. Like I would have been looking for uh, a way to humanize her, I guess. I don't know. And
Mhm.
this, I just like, nah, I'm just gonna go with Bratty.
Just go with Bratty. When in doubt, go with Bratty. Uh, but you're so the flip side of this, and as I mentioned at the beginning, like much like Heather, like you're taking on this new side of your career, and I don't know how much like this is like gung ho forward path, but you've got your directorial film debut on the way. And like, was that like when you're talking to Heather, is that part of the conversation at all? Do you all share notes on that side of things?
Yeah, I mean, particularly about getting independent films set up and through development and financing and all that, because Heather sent me the script for Chosen Family a few years ago, and as she was trying to get it financed and figure out her schedule, I was also doing that with my movie, and we were very supportive of each other. Um, and I could see also like her how she got it from start to finish, and that was very inspiring to me.
Yeah. Do you know what kind of director that you want to be at this point now that you've jumped in the deep end?
Oh, totally. I mean, I, I, I will say that I've spent 25 years on film sets, and so I have absorbed a lot through osmosis, and also like seen so many different styles of directing. And there are certain ones that I definitely want to emulate. But I found myself on set when I was directing that like all the things that I swore I would never say to actors, I was forced to because you just don't have time. Like I was like, I'm gonna let them rehearse and do one take and I'm not gonna give any notes because that's too oppressive. I'm just going to let them do it. And then I'll come in, give them one take and then come in and give your notes. And you just don't have time. You have to be like more happy, more sad, faster, slower, which when you're on the acting side of it can be really frustrating, but it's just necessary.
Yeah. When you make a decision like this, now that you've made this decision, I should say, like how much of it is just like this is the gradual next step versus like, because I always thought like this is an opportunity for any actor to take more control of their career. You know, you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
wait for the role to come along. If you believe in a project enough, you can see it from the starts to the end, which to me, I know is very scary and very hard to do, but also would seem to be exciting.
I think a huge part of a director's job too that I wanted to emulate was that you're like almost like the parent with kids filtering the stress. So like all the stress that's going on behind the scenes, you have to protect your actors from. Um, and I mean, it's a ton more work, but it's also it's so energizing because you are communicating your vision to a group of people who then have to help it come to life. And you're much more in the driver's seat than I think generally you are as an actor. But they go hand in hand. I think that I think, um, I think acting and directing go really well together. And being an actor makes you a better director, and having experience behind the camera probably makes you a better actor too.
Yeah. Well, you've got plenty of experience on the acting. I mean, again, just the iconic roles, even beyond the iconic roles. I was thinking about, oh God, I wish I'd brought the soundtrack because I have the soundtrack to the '60s, the NBC movie you did, and I listen to that still all the time. I think that's you on the cover of it, right? That's
Yeah. That
yeah,
was one of my first big jobs. Yeah.
yeah. Still not available anywhere. No one can watch that movie at this point. It's just
Oh,
not like everything's available, and that's not available out there.
I wonder why. It was NBC. I remember that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even on like iTunes. No.
They called it the movie event of a generation, and then it just went away. I mean, maybe it had to do with songwrites or something like that, because I know it had all of those in there. But
Oh, it had a lot of really, really big songs from that era.
yeah, that one, and even since we're talking about period pieces, Mona Lisa Smile, I went back to that one recently, and just that's what I'm getting at. Just all these just incredible, incredible things that you've been a part of. To now that you can bring that into the directing, it's like that. Like I always hear that you can tell when a director knows how to be an actor, like that there's an obvious difference there. Do you find that's the
Hmm.
same?
I think there's a sensitivity to like I noticed with Heather when she was directing Chosen Family, she there was a sensitivity that she had to what the actors were doing. She was very observant, even though she was also acting in the film, and respectful of us, and I think I give her a lot of credit for that, because I think that if you have written the script, you probably have an idea of how you want the performances to be, and she would give us guidance, but she also was very, very receptive to what we would bring to it. And I think that comes from her experience as an actress.
Yeah. How much did you talk about her actual story on this one? Because I mean, when you hear about, when you're an actor and you find a role, you have to find the truth in it. When you're writing and directing, I mean, there's got to be mostly truth in there, I would imagine. I mean, I guess there's that chance for escapism, but when I guess what I'm getting to, when I saw this movie, like I found my connection to it. I've been married now for 10 years, but I had a first marriage, and that transitional moment, especially when you have a kid, like and the dating scene that you have to go through and all of that, like, I know those moments, and like when you all are breaking down the movie, I mean, how much of that do you all actually talk about?
She was really open. Heather was really, really open in talking about how this was inspired by her own life story and her actual family. She's very open about it. I think, um, but she wasn't trying to get us to like imitate, she wasn't going like, you have to act like my sister. Uh, I think what's really great about Heather too is that you can tell that her perspective as the writer and then director is that even though this is a story that's very close to home to her, she really looks at it through a comedic lens. She's able to laugh at it instead of focusing on tragedy or being. She's worked through it enough that she's not like bitter and angry about um, her relationships in real life.
Yeah, those comedic moments. I thought I'm trying to remember how it was worded, anal massage, uh, something like that. That bit could have gone longer. It could have gone
Yeah,
longer.
yeah.
There's some nice moments in there. When do we get to see your film? The directing film. When do we? That I'm blanking on the
It's
title.
called it's called Wish that's okay. It's called Wish You Were Here, and it'll be out early next year. It'll be in theaters too, so um,
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
I can't wait. I hope we get to talk about that as well. And more music too. I'm just gonna put more new posters on the wall and make you go through a whole new slew of them. So
Do
it's
you know that I discovered that my dream job, if people still spent money on this, was would be directing music videos because I love one of my favorite things about directing was being able to put music to the picture.
uh I mean, people do still make music videos. You were in one, Cyndi Lauper, I want to
I've
say.
been in a couple. I was in
Okay.
a Cyndi Lauper music video when I was 16. I was in more like smaller bands like Cavemen was one of the bands
Uh-huh.
and wow, I'm blanking on the name. Leisure Cruise.
Okay. I don't know that one.
Was
Caveman sounds familiar though. But I always thought it would be fun to be like, I don't know, music videos to me, especially to me and to our generation, are so iconic. Like you cannot hear certain songs without
I
just
know.
seeing the entire picture. And to be
Yeah.
able to produce something like that, I mean, uh,
Well, because music videos used to be an event, right? But with MTV, like a Monday morning, you'd come into school and you had to have seen whatever was released that weekend. Beyonce kind of does that now, but that's about it.
yeah. Yeah, they're out there. People still make them. They're just not seen in the same way, which is I don't know, unfortunate. Every now and then, if I'm in a hotel room and they have like MTV Classic or whatever, I throw it on and just sort of imagine I'm 20 years ago. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's fun to do. Congrats on this. It's great seeing you back on the screen again in this new one. And geez, you're always on the screen. I feel like some screen everywhere, so I don't say that like it's anything new, really. But and I can't wait to see what's next from you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks. Nice to see you.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.